Hello everybody and welcome back to the second shelf and keeping up with tradition. As you can see, the first book haul of 2024. If you watched my plans and goals video, I said that I would change the way that I acquire books. So rather one book at a time than a big bunch of books. So I'm not sure how the book haul videos will go. Maybe I'll do one every other month. We'll see, because it's probably boring to have a book haul if I have already talked about the book in a wrap up or in a recent reads, which will be called probably my reading week this year, because I want to change a couple of things. But some things, as you can see from the blouse, the book haul blouse, some things I won't change. Anyway, this is the first book haul. And I have 7 books. I acquired myself 5, but I was gifted 2 by Heidi from my reading life for Christmas. Can you believe it? She just blindsided me with Christmas gifts because I thought we don't do Christmas gifts, so I didn't give her anything. Well, we'll see how I can work that out. But she gifted me 2 books, and that is also the reason that the first book I will show you is by a male author. And if you have watched my Best Dudes video, you will probably be not surprised that she gifted this to me. And that is The New Silk Roads by Peter Frankopan. I'm not sure whether I mentioned in the video, The Best Dudes, that I read his previous book, The Silk Roads, with Heidi. I think I forgot to mention it. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, so this is his addendum, so to speak. It's a much a shorter book, and the New Silk Roads is about China and the East, mainly. If you're not familiar with the Silk Roads, Peter Frankopan is a historian who, in his famous book, Sunday Times bestselling author, The Silk Roads, looks at history of us, Western culture, in a different way, and tries to make sure that we understand that a lot of that history is far comes from far to the east of Rome and is not as Western centric in geography terms as we are taught in school. Anyway, so this is kind of the next step. And of course, I will buddy read this with Heidi. And the other book she gifted me, we will also buddy read, is Jennifer Ackerman's What an Owl Knows. And this is published. This was published last year. The Frankopan book was published 2018. I loved Jennifer Ackerman's book on birds. She is such an excellent science writer when it comes to birds. And this book is about owls. So what more can you want? And I will read it together with Heidi, who has much more insight into science than I do, but I like to read about it. So those 2 books were gifts. The next book is gonna be, already started being a buddy read with Kathleen, from Kathleen Ann, and we are reading I Who Have Never Known Man by Jacqueline Hartman. This is a vintage edition. I don't like this format. It's too small somehow, but I couldn't get another format for some reason. And this book was translated from the French by Rose Schwartz. It's an older book, 1995, published in France, and 1997 in the English translation. And to be honest, I don't know why I came across this book now. I think somebody, and I know that Kim really liked it, but I had already ordered it when she talked about it. So somehow this book made the rounds for some reason. It's a dystopian, it's called a dystopian feminist book. I always have I don't know, whether this is true, but it is 39 women are kept in isolation in a cage. Above ground, a world awaits, but the world has been devastated. They don't know what is going on. I like dystopian for sure. I also want to read more translated fiction in 2024. So this checked also the box of translated fiction. And like I said, somehow I saw something about this book, and it really grabbed me. We started already, as you can see, but I will talk about the book later. The next one is a new release, also from 2023, and that is Naomi Alderman's book, The Future. You're probably familiar, like it says here, author of the international bestseller, The Power, which came out a couple of years ago. And this is her new book, and I acquired this halfway through because I want to read one book a month that I would call a buzz book. So a book that people really talked about, that is kind of, in the publishing world, there is a buzz around it, and I want to know whether it's worth it or not. And I will probably make a video about these books, a separate video, kind of a buzz books hot or not type of video. And the book I chose for January, even though it was published in November 2023, is The Future. This is basically a dystopian look at the social media moguls and tech moguls. So Apple, Google, Facebook, Twitter. I'm not going to call it X, also not in 2024. Instagram, that type of people who run those businesses and the power they have. That is what the book is about. What I think about it, you will see in the video, and I think I'm just going to call it Buzz Book, hot or not. That sounds like something. Anyway, the next book was Heidi is to Blame acquisition, and that is To the Bright Edge of the World by Eowyn Ivey. That sounds very kind of English, British, Welsh, what have you, I don't know, but it is American. So, and this book was published in 2016, and it is on Heidi's ancient TBR or old TBR. She doesn't have an ancient TBR anymore, but an old TBR kind of thing. And when she featured it in her video, I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. I want to read this with her. So this is set in the late 1800s, 1895 mainly. And we have a main character, Alan Forrester, who is sent, he's in the army, and he is sent to explore Alaska. Is in particular one river, the side of one river, or the go of one river. Can you see that here? The Wolverine River. He's not that young anymore, but he is recently married to a very much younger wife, Sophie. And this book is about him on this trail and her at home. They exchange letters. There's also, it's an epistolary novel mainly, which I always love, but there are also newspaper clippings, fictional newspaper clippings, because it's historical fiction, but it's not a real life person. So we find him exploring this wilderness, his encounter with the indigenous population, who are called Indians still back then, the difficulties of her as a woman making her way, and she wants to do different stuff and not be, your typical conventional wife. it's really, I'm a third in, and so far I'm really enjoying it. This is supposed to be a book haul, so don't talk about whether you like a book or not that much. Anyway, the next one, I think on the list, yes, the next one is also a buddy read with Terri from Miss Terri Reads, and we are reading P.D. James, Cover Her Face. We will start, I think, towards the second half of the month or something. This is the first in the Adam Dalgliesh series, which I've never read. I watched part of the BBC adaptation. I think it's a BBC. Yeah, I have. Sorry, an itch. BBC adaptation, but I've never read her books. This is the first, like I said, Cover Her Face, and it's in 1962, so it's really old. I'm wondering how it will hold up in terms of, you know, how well it aged, but we'll see. P.D. James is always worthwhile, I think. I love other books by her. Can't remember, of course, now which ones I read, but never mind. So the Adam Dalgliesh is a detective, but he's also a poet. So that's the angle that P.D. James chose for this series. And in this first one, we will have the murder of the new parlor maid who is about to marry the son of the rich family in the village, and her name is Sally, and she's murdered, and then Detective Chief Inspector he is, Adam Dalgliesh, is investigating. So we'll see how we'll go on with that. Speaking of detective novels, as you know, if you follow my channel, Heidi and I are making our way through the Inspector Linley series. And we finished last year with the 8th book in the series. There are currently 21 in total, so there's quite some to go. And anticipating our next read, I saw this one and bought it. Deception on His Mind is number 9. I have no idea what it is about. On the coast of Essex, there is a sea town, Belfort-le-Ney, and it's a dying sea town. But when a member of the town's small but growing Asian community is found dead near the beach. So this is the first book, I think, that has, no, there were other books that were not set in London, but this is a beach town is something new. Belfort-le-Ney sounds wonderful. That's how you spell it, Belfort-le-Ney. Le is the nose, so that's quite fitting because I still have an itch. Anyway, I'm not sure when we will be reading this, but I'm acquiring whenever I see one of the follow-ups, one of the novels in the series that we haven't read yet, I'll buy it. And this happened to be the next one. But if I find number 20, I will buy it because I know we will read it, even if it takes us a while, because we read about 3 a year. So maybe we have to speed it up a little for me to make it. If we want to make it to 21, we probably have to speed it up a little. But anyway, so this is number 9 in the Inspector Linley series. First book haul of 2024, and it only took me about 14 minutes to talk about the books, even though there are 7 books. I probably talked really fast, did I? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you're still enjoying a book haul. Let me know whether you read any of the books, or let me know whether you acquired your first books for 2024, or maybe you are on a book buying ban. There's at the moment this read your own books challenge is always beginning of the year, very big, that you have to read a certain number of books before you are allowed to buy a new one. As you can tell I'm not doing any of this. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you are up to reading wise, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next one.